everybody. I had a recipe request from, I believe her name is Barbara Moat. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. I believe it was on my lemon sugar cookie recipe. She asked me if I had a recipe for a cakey chocolate chip cookie. I couldn't find anything in my vintage cookbooks that I thought would come out cakey, but I had to say it got me to thinking the lemon sugar cookies, those are probably one of the most cakey type cookies I've ever made. They stayed just soft as could be. But anyway, I did a search and I found a few recipes, and I couldn't make up my mind which one to do. I narrowed it down to two. So I'm going to kind of combine those two because the other one had some ingredients in it that kind of, I've never thought about putting almond extract in my chocolate chip cookies, but it sounds good, so I'm going to give it a try. This one was actually the one I'm mainly following. I'll have to find the website for it because it was kind of in an article. It says the recipe's by Lindsay Hunt. I will find the article so I can post a link to it. If I can't find the article again, then I will type the recipe in. The other one I thought about doing, which I'm combining parts of, is the fluffy chocolate chip cookie recipe on a blog called Show Me the Yummy. I'll put a link to that recipe as well. I also found one that said it was a chocolate chip cookie recipe, soft cakey version. That's kind of a simplified version. It looks like she left out some stuff on the actual printed part of the recipe. This is called the Kitchen Magpie. I'll leave a link to that one too. So it gives you a variety of choices of how you want to try things. I have got my temperature at about my butter at about room temperature. Now, one of the things on the recipe that I am following is it wants you to use 3 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, spooned and leveled. Well, that's one of the things about I did on the lemon sugar cookie recipe is I spooned it out because it actually makes a difference if you're scooping up your flour and packing it into your measuring cup. I have already started to sift mine, and right now I'm at about 1.5 cups. I want to go ahead and incorporate the teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, and 1.5 teaspoons of kosher salt or 3/4 teaspoons of fine salt. I did canning salt because I don't have kosher or fine salt, so I want to sift that in with this flour. So I'm just going to dump that in there now and use my sifter. Get this all sifted together until we get 3 1/4 cups of flour, because having your flour sifted will help you have lighter, fluffier cookies. And you will be really surprised if you measure out 1 cup of flour and then sift it. You're going to have more flour than you started with. I was kind of surprised to do that, to try it myself and see, but it really did work. Okay, let's see. That is right at 3 1/4 cups. So I still have that much flour left over in there that I spooned out. So it goes to show, yeah, I did exactly 3 cups spooned out. There it is sifted, along with some on the counter, as usual. So there we go. Alright, so now that we've got that sifted, I'm going to set that aside. I have got my, sorry, my OCD is kicking in. I can't stand to have the flour on the counter. Get that out of the way. Alright, so let me bring you over closer. We're going to start creaming together the sugar and butter. I've got 2 sticks of butter in here that I've had them sitting out at room temperature. Lock that into place, make sure that's locked. So we're going to start that out slow. I have got 3/4 cups of white sugar. Pour that in there. And I've got 1 cup of packed light brown sugar. And my butter is unsalted. I should have stressed that. Well, you don't want to come out there. Pack it a little too well. Measuring cups. Alright. So, letting that cream together. It says to use the electric mixer on high speed, beat everything together until it's super fluffy. So I guess we'll kick that up. 3 to 4 minutes. No, I'm not going to make you sit here and watch this for 3 to 4 minutes, so we'll be back. Alright, I've had that beating for a little bit, and I'm going to add my first egg. And, messy. That's going to be beat in 1 egg to the sugar butter mixture until it's fully mixed in. Alright, while that's mixing in, I'm going to crack my other egg. Krista at Big Family Homestead had said something about, and I've never really thought about this, cracking your eggs one at a time into a separate bowl instead of directly into your whatever you're making, in case it's bad. And I've had that happen before. Why it didn't dawn on me to start doing that, but I'm going to try to start getting into that habit of cracking them in separately. Alright, let's kick you up a little bit. Alright, now it wants me to scrape this down. Scrape it down off the sides. Okay. And it says to beat in the second egg and the vanilla. Okay, so there's my second egg. Now, as I said, since I'm going to incorporate things in the other one, I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract instead of 2. So there's that. I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of almond extract. There's that. I love the smell of almond extract. Alright, beat that in. Make sure everything is fully incorporated. Okay, so we'll be back in a minute. Okay, we are ready to start incorporating our flour in here. Raise this up, and I'm going to pour a little bit down in there. Turn this on low. Ginger whippers to top some up. And it also calls for a 12-ounce bag of chocolate chips. I have semi-sweet or bittersweet chocolate chips. I had some left over that are swirled, that are white and semi-sweet, so I'm gonna dump those in there as well. And because I like pecans in my chocolate chip cookies, I'm going to make a couple, I think, without pecans for my husband, because he doesn't like pecans very, I mean, he'll eat them, but they're not his favorite. But for the most part, the cookies for me. That was another reason I didn't mind making this recipe, because I like cookies and I hate no chocolate chip cookies, so it's all the better. Alright, so time to add some flour in there. Stop running my mouth and pay attention to what I'm doing. Get that in there like so. And I wanted to add, when you're doing your flour, if you don't have a sifter, you know, if you're new to cooking and just trying stuff out and want to make this but don't have it, you can always use a fork or a whisk in a bowl to kind of incorporate everything and fluff up your flour. That would work as well. Okay. Put it up. I always manage to get flour all over the place when I'm doing it this way. Alright, starting to get worked in pretty good. Let me scrape this down a little bit. And this is about the same consistency of the lemon sugar cookie recipe. So I know how cakey those turned out, so this is making me hopeful. I think a lot of it has to do with how you do your flour, as I did. Okay, well, let's see. Shouldn't have wetted that. Scissors can snip this open. So, time for chocolate chips. That's not working. All the way off. Okay, so 12 ounces should be. That would be the whole bag, but since I'm using part of another bag, that's about 12 ounces. Let's put those in there. There we go. Got that down. And you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and incorporate the pecans in there anyway. And pick them out. So, the other recipe that had the pecans in it, the one that Show Me the Yummy, wanted you to toast them. I'm not going to take that extra step. They'll get cooked, kind of toasted when they cook in the oven. There we go. Okay. That looks pretty well mixed to me. Alright, now, the next step, I'm not preheating my oven. This is to preheat your oven at 375. Refrigerate the dough for at least 10 minutes while the oven preheats. And then it goes into how to scoop it out. To bake the dough after it rests, which is recommended, it says to scoop the dough, let's see. Oh, okay, 1 minute. Scoop the dough into 2-ounce portions with a cookie scoop, or you can measure out 1/4 of a cup. 4 tablespoons with your hands. Place on parchment-lined baking sheets. Wrap the baking sheets tightly with plastic wrap and refrigerate for at least 4 hours. Or up to 3 days. I think we're going to go with the 10 minutes, folks, because I want to get this done tonight. It's Sunday, and I don't want to try to come home tomorrow night and have to make cookies, because work has been crazy. It usually is in May. So, okay, I'm going to get this scraped down, and I'm going to let it sit in the refrigerator for about 10 to 20 minutes or so and let it rest. And then we'll start putting it out on the trays and getting it ready to go in the oven. Alright, I went ahead and did one tray just to kind of see how this was going to measure out. And I'm actually using a 1/4 cup measuring cup and a spoon, because these are still kind of gooey. This is the consistency of the sugar cookie batter. It's real sticky. It says to put 1/4 cup, 4 tablespoons, or if you've got a 2-ounce cookie scoop, that would be fine too. They want them 3 inches apart, so I'm only doing 2 across here, just to make sure they have plenty of room to spread out bake. That's all that extra in there. So I'm doing these like so. Trying to keep my fingers out of it and resist the temptation to lick them. Before this video is done and over with, or while I have you off camera, I probably will be. So, but that's just me. So I've got the first batch in the oven there. Cookie dough. And as you see, I've got my parchment paper down. I found that that was definitely a key in making those sugar cookies. Get off there. I did have a little taste of the batter as I was cleaning up the bowl, and I have to say I really, really like the almond extract in here. I could definitely taste it in there, and it definitely added something to the cookies. So if y'all have never had almond extract in your cookie dough, especially if you're making chocolate chip cookies, give it a try, especially if you like almond extract. So see how you like it and what you think. And I went ahead and set the temperature on my oven to 375 as the recipe calls for. We'll see how it comes out. I've got the timer for 6 minutes because those of you who've watched my previous videos know I have a cranky oven. It's old and it doesn't like to play nice sometimes. So we have to play with the temperature, and you'll have to excuse me. I've also kind of got dinner in the progress. I'm making another video on how to make my cornbread. I've got green beans on the stove. We're going to grill out some kielbasa sausage, which I'm just going to sprinkle with molasses bacon seasoning, which is really good. We like it that way. And what else are we going to have? I think we're just going to have some corn steamed in the microwave, and that's going to be dinner tonight. Alright, we'll check the progress of the cookies in the oven and bring you back when we have a batch that hopefully is not burned on the bottom. Well, here is our finished product. I found that 350 degrees is what worked on my oven, which is about normal for me to have to turn it down about 25 degrees. For the most part, I managed to get these out without scorching the bottoms. Yay, pretty. They are thick. They're still a little crispy around the edges, and I think that has more to do with the brown sugar in them for whatever reason. I may be wrong in that, but overall I'm happy with the way they turned out. I ended up with 22 cookies, being that they're so large. If you do a quick count right now, you're only going to see 21 because we kind of taste tested one earlier and they were very good. I am going to break one open here. Let's see. So you can see. Let me scoot the camera up to a little better light. And hopefully you can, there we go. See how well that looks, very cake-like and soft. The real test will be in a couple of days as to how they hold the softness and cake-likeness. But so far they're, do a little taste test, and good. A little chewy. I like that though. I have a tendency to like my chocolate chip cookies really crispy and chewy, but these are good. I'm going to enjoy these. A lot of times I take baked goods to work and share them, but chocolate chip cookies are one of my favorites, so I don't think I'll be sharing these. I'm going to enjoy this last little piece with a little glass of milk and get a photo to use as my cover picture for this video. We're going to wrap this up. Barbara, thank you for requesting this recipe. I will put links to all 3 recipes that I found for this, and let you know the one I used. In fact, let me run down the ingredients right quick. It was 3 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, spooned and leveled, 1 1/2 teaspoons of kosher salt, or 3/4 teaspoons of fine salt. I used canning salt, 3/4 teaspoon. 1 teaspoon of baking powder. 1 teaspoon of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, 1 cup of unsalted butter, 2 sticks, 1 cup of packed light brown sugar, 3/4 cups of granulated sugar, 2 large eggs at room temperature, and the butter was at room temperature also, 2 teaspoons vanilla extract. Now remember, I used 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract and 1 teaspoon of almond extract. 2 cups of semi-sweet or bittersweet chocolate chips, which is a 12-ounce bag. And this calls for flaky sea salt. I was supposed to sprinkle sea salt on the top of the cookie dough before I put it in the oven. I'm sorry, I don't want salty cookies. So anyway, you whisk or shift all the flour together to make sure it measures out to 3 1/4 cups of flour. Combine the butter and sugars in a large bowl. Mix at high speed, beating everything together until super light and fluffy for 3 to 4 minutes. Beat in 1 egg into the sugar mixture until fully mixed in. Scrape the sides of the bowl. Beat in the second egg and the extracts. Scrape the sides of the bowl again, and then start to incorporate your dry ingredients and chocolate chips in there. Refrigerate your dough for at least 10 minutes while the oven preheats to 375. For me it was 350. And you use a 1/4 cup to scoop out your cookie dough, and I did 6 cookies per sheet on parchment paper. Cooked them 12 minutes was key for me. It says 12 to 16 minutes, so it just kind of says until the edges are set and the cookies are dome shaped and beginning to turn golden brown throughout. Let cool on the sheet for 5 minutes, which I did, and then transfer to a wire rack. And there you have it. Anyway, I appreciate you coming along on this, and I also want to give out a big welcome to all my new subscribers. I've noticed I've gotten quite a few more, especially since doing the collaboration homestyle dinner with, I believe that's Two Family Homestead. Thank you for the invite on that. I'm looking forward to doing the Taste of Summer collaboration that Teaser Pleaser is putting on. Got something in mind for that, but I gotta wait for the garden to produce the stuff, so it'll kind of be late in the summer before I get that done. But I'm sure I'll be canning up some other stuff. Again, thank you. Hope y'all have a wonderful evening and happy cooking.